The difference between inherited wealth and newly acquired fortune reveals itself in subtle ways that most people never consciously notice. Yet these signals instantly communicate your background to those who understand the language. A billionaire who made his fortune last year and one whose family has been wealthy for generations may wear similar price tags, but their style choices tell completely different stories about values, insecurity, and social positioning. Welcome to the fascinating psychology of old money versus new money, where the way you signal wealth reveals far more about your relationship with it than the actual numbers in your bank account ever could. Old money doesn't announce itself because it has nothing to prove, a confidence so deeply ingrained that it manifests in every purchasing decision and aesthetic choice. The psychology behind generational wealth creates a fundamentally different relationship with luxury, consumption, and self-presentation than the mindset of someone who recently acquired significant resources. Consider the difference between a tech billionaire purchasing a $50 million yacht covered in gold fixtures versus a Vanderbilt descendant sailing a 60-year-old wooden sailboat worth far less, but maintained with obsessive care. Both are wealthy, but only one feels the need to broadcast that wealth to strangers. And this distinction reveals everything about the psychological dynamics at play. The concept of old money traditionally refers to families whose wealth extends back at least 3 generations, creating what sociologists call inherited cultural capital alongside financial resources. These families develop unwritten rules, aesthetic preferences, and behavioral patterns that function as tribal markers, instantly recognizable to others within the same social stratum. The WASP establishment in America, the aristocratic families of Europe, and the old mercantile dynasties of Asia each developed their own versions of these codes. What unites them is a shared emphasis on understatement, tradition, quality over novelty, and a certain studied carelessness about appearance that paradoxically requires significant effort to achieve. If you're fascinated by the hidden psychology behind wealth presentation and want to explore more insights into how different social classes communicate through style, please subscribe to Lux Eternal and activate the notification bell. Your support helps us continue decoding the subtle languages of luxury, status, and social positioning that shape our cultural landscape. New money, in contrast, typically refers to individuals who generated significant wealth within their own lifetime, often through entrepreneurship, technology, entertainment, or professional success. This group faces a unique psychological challenge of navigating social spaces without the inherited roadmap that guides old money behavior. The result is often conspicuous consumption, a term coined by economist Thorstein Veblen to describe the use of expensive goods to signal wealth and status to others. The new money mindset often includes a desire for validation, recognition of achievement, and visible proof of success that old money considers vulgar precisely because it tries too hard. The clothing choices between these groups reveal profound psychological differences in how they relate to wealth and identity. Old money gravitates toward brands like Brooks Brothers, Loro, Piana, and Brunello Cucinelli, labels that whisper quality to those who know but remain invisible to the uninitiated. A cashmere sweater without logos, perfectly tailored but deliberately understated, communicates that you don't need external validation of your taste or resources. The new money aesthetic often embraces recognizable luxury, Gucci belts with prominent logos, Louis Vuitton monogram bags, and designer labels that announce their price point to anyone within viewing distance. The footwear distinction offers particularly revealing insights into these different psychological approaches to wealth presentation. Old money men wear handmade shoes from John Lobb or Edward Green that cost $15,000 but look deliberately worn, even slightly scuffed, as if wealth is so secure that maintaining appearances requires no effort. New money might wear limited edition sneakers, costing $10,000 specifically because others will recognize their rarity and value. The old money approach suggests that comfort, tradition, and personal preference matter more than impressing strangers, while new money seeks recognition and validation through visible consumption. The watch phenomenon perfectly illustrates these divergent philosophies toward luxury and status signaling. Old money often inherits timepieces, wearing a grandfather's Patek Philippe passed down through generations, regardless of current fashion trends. The patina, the slightly outdated style, the fact that it needs winding daily, all these perceived inconveniences actually enhance its value as a symbol of continuity and heritage. New money gravitates toward the latest Richard Mille or limited edition Audemars Piguet, pieces that cost $500,000 and announce their contemporary relevance and technological innovation. The psychology of real estate choices reveals even deeper differences in how these groups conceptualize wealth and permanence. Old money properties tend to be family estates held for generations, even when they're drafty, expensive to maintain, and inconveniently located. The emotional attachment to place, history, and family memory outweighs practical considerations or fashionable locations. New money purchases showcase properties in trending neighborhoods, ultra-modern penthouses with smart home technology, or trophy estates that make architectural statements and appear in design magazines. The approach to automobile selection demonstrates contrasting values around utility, tradition, and status communication. Old money might drive a 20-year-old Range Rover or Volvo station wagon, vehicles maintained impeccably but chosen for practicality rather than impression. The dents and wear communicate that the car is a tool rather than a status symbol, and that replacing it would feel wasteful when it still functions perfectly. New money purchases tend toward Lamborghinis, limited edition Ferraris, or the latest electric hypercars that cost millions and announce both wealth and cultural currency. The interior design choices within homes reveal fundamental differences in psychological orientation toward heritage versus innovation. Old money spaces feature inherited antique furniture mixed with worn Persian rugs, family portraits, and objects accumulated over generations without concern for cohesive style. The aesthetic is one of comfortable shabbiness, where a threadbare but historically significant chair holds more value than a pristine contemporary designer piece. New money interiors often feature professionally designed spaces with the latest furniture from exclusive designers, everything coordinated and new, communicating both taste and resources. The psychology of educational choices reflects different priorities around tradition, network building, and credential signaling. Old money sends children to the same prep schools and universities attended by previous generations, prioritizing institutional continuity and network preservation over rankings. The social connections formed at these institutions matter more than the specific education received, creating lifelong bonds within a closed social circle. New money often focuses on prestigious institutions with strong rankings and career outcomes, viewing education as credential building and opportunity creation rather than tradition maintenance. The approach to philanthropy reveals contrasting motivations around legacy, visibility, and social positioning. Old money charitable giving tends to be discreet, often anonymous, directed toward institutions the family has supported for generations. The psychological motivation centers on obligation and stewardship rather than recognition or social advancement. New money philanthropy often embraces visibility, with naming opportunities, gala events, and public recognition that serves both charitable purposes and social positioning objectives. The dining and hospitality choices demonstrate different comfort levels with formality, tradition, and social performance. Old money entertains at home with family china and inherited silver, even when pieces don't match, because the history embedded in each item matters more than coordinated perfection. Meals might be served by staff who have worked for the family for decades, creating relationships that transcend mere employment. New money entertaining often occurs at exclusive restaurants, private clubs, or catered events with professional service, demonstrating access and resources through venue and presentation. The relationship with luxury brands reveals psychological differences around validation, taste development, and cultural literacy. Old money developed preferences through generational exposure, learning which tailors, jewelers, and craftspeople the family has trusted for decades. This inherited knowledge creates confidence in choices without needing external validation from fashion magazines or influencers. New money often relies on brand recognition, fashion press coverage, and celebrity endorsements to navigate luxury choices, seeking guidance on taste from external authorities. The approach to jewelry and accessories demonstrates contrasting values around heritage, investment, and personal adornment. Old money jewelry consists primarily of inherited pieces, family heirlooms worn for sentimental rather than monetary value. A pearl necklace might be more valuable for having belonged to a great-grandmother than for its market price. New money. Jewelry often emphasizes scale, contemporary design, and recognizable brands, with pieces selected to make statements about current wealth rather than family continuity. The vacation and travel patterns reflect different priorities around adventure, tradition, and social signaling. Old money returns to the same locations year after year: family compounds in Maine or the Hamptons, inherited properties in Europe, places chosen for memory and continuity. The repetition itself becomes valuable, with traditions and rituals more important than novelty or Instagram-worthy destinations. New money travel embraces exotic locations, luxury resorts featured in travel magazines, and experiences that provide both enjoyment and social currency through sharing. The psychology of work and leisure reveals fundamental differences in how these groups conceptualize purpose and productivity. Old money often pursues work that is meaningful or personally fulfilling rather than maximally lucrative, secure in the knowledge that financial needs are met. This might include arts patronage, nonprofit leadership, or continuing family business traditions, regardless of optimal financial returns. New money typically maintains intense focus on career and business growth, with wealth creation remaining central to identity even after financial security is achieved. The approach to children's upbringing demonstrates contrasting philosophies around values transmission and preparation for life. Old money emphasizes understated living, even within wealthy contexts, teaching children that wealth is responsibility rather than opportunity for indulgence. Stories abound of wealthy families requiring children to work summer jobs, maintain modest college apartments, and understand that family resources come with obligations. New money parents sometimes struggle with how much comfort to provide, wanting children to appreciate earned success, while also giving them advantages the parents lacked. The social media presence difference reveals perhaps the starkest psychological divide between these groups. Old money typically maintains minimal digital presence, viewing personal privacy as more valuable than public visibility or influence. The idea of broadcasting vacation photos, luxury purchases, or lifestyle details to strangers conflicts fundamentally with values around discretion and privacy. New money often embraces social media as a platform for personal brand building, lifestyle display, and network expansion, seeing visibility as opportunity rather than vulnerability. Understanding these patterns isn't about judgment, but rather recognizing the profound psychological differences that wealth timing creates in relationship to consumption, identity, and social positioning. Old money security allows for studied carelessness and understatement, because status is assured through family name and network rather than visible display. New money faces the challenge of establishing credibility and belonging in spaces without inherited access, often leading to more visible consumption as a form of social navigation. The cultural codes. Separating these groups function as both barrier and bridge, with some new money individuals successfully adopting old money aesthetics, while others deliberately reject them as outdated or inauthentic to their experience.